Alright, for documentation purposes, I think this is the last time it's going to run and be an automatic. Someday I'm going to look at this video and be like, wow, that's so nostalgic. Maybe. Obviously there's a ton of automatic Cherokees out there, so it's not like I'm destroying something unique. But I am going to miss it a little bit. That soft pedal feel, cushion of feathers that is the torque converter. It does give for a smooth ride. But alas, all good things must come to an end, right? Piece of shit. I've gone through 2 of these now, 2 automatics. I destroyed the first one by racing it a few times. This one came out of a Jeep that, oh boy, I mean, I'm surprised it still worked, you know. That thing had been beat to shit and back. But it still works. It does slip out of 3rd gear every now and then. Still. But it still works. 1999 AW4 in this 01 Cherokee with it had 20,000 more miles than mine did when I put it in, so it's got 250,000 miles on it right now, and it's never been rebuilt. So it's a damn good transmission, man. It's a damn good transmission. I've never heard of another automatic that can just comfortably go 250,000 miles with no complaints. And I mean, part of that is the transmission cooler I put in, which, oh yeah, I'm going to have to figure out what the hell to do with that. How many Jeeps now have made this fateful turn up this little hill into my driveway before dying forever? I mean, it's more than it should be. And I never thought the XJ would be making the same route, but here we are. The XJ, I say. The XJ, because this is the XJ. I'm gonna line it up nice and straight here. Good. Let's do this. This kind of whirring sound. It sounds like the countershaft. Yeah, by the way, I did not rebuild this transmission. I just threw it in there. You know what? If it turns out to be bad, I'll take it out again. It really was not that hard to get it in there. She's running. It sounds a little different. It sounds a little different. It might just be the way the transmission sounds with, you know, gears instead of a torque converter. But the manual ECU started her right up. I can't wait, man. I can't wait. Sounds just as good as always. But my brake lights are on. So that is just the switch on the pedal acting up. Okay, so the light on the dash still works. It's still on, yeah. So I might have like broken this or something, or it might just, I don't know, it might not be working properly. Yeah, you know what? I'll figure that out later. It doesn't matter. gas. Oh, that torque, holy, oh my God. Oh my God, bro. The upshift light works. Yes! Woohoo! That's a victory, boys! We got 5-speed! Yeah! There's the upshift light. That torque, oh my God! And the reason I'm shifting so soon is because, like, I'm in 4th gear at only, what, 35? I still got the 355 gears in this thing. So, bro, as soon as this thing gets up to operating temperature, oh. First of all, you can mostly drop the clutch. It's so fast. Oh my God. See, on the highway, so pretty much right at 60, I gotta be careful on the gas, man. It just goes, it accelerates so much easier now. Right at about 60 is just above 2,000 RPM. With the automatic at 60, it was right on 2,000 RPM. So that's the only difference you have in RPM with keeping the 355 gears. Let's see if cruise control works. Light came on. Set. Does not appear to be doing anything. Okay, so first test drive was a success. Put some gas in it. I'm going to keep track of my fuel economy after the manual swap, see how much it improves. I'm really excited right now, so I got to try to organize my thoughts. So brake lights staying on was the brake switch, as I kind of anticipated. So how this thing works is this little button is contacted by the brake pedal. Whenever the brake pedal is all the way out, this button is depressed and the brake lights are not on, as in, you know, because you're not stepping on the brakes. When you step on the pedal, this button releases and that's what turns on the brake lights. So the reason cruise control doesn't work is because this thing right here, this thing always thinks the brakes are on, so it won't let me use cruise because, you know, when you tap on the brakes, it shuts off cruise. So this thing is causing two problems at once, and I'm going to have to get that ironed out. I don't know much about this thing at all. I just know it's a button, really. That's all I really know about it. Good news, the brake light switch is adjustable, so all you got to do is pull the button out like that, and that's all you need to do. It took me like 4 days to figure that out, but apparently I must have bumped it at some point, so. I'm going to be really interested to see how this swap affects heat soak, because a big contributing factor to heat soak is the automatic transmissions. They get really hot. Some of that heat works its way up here, and in combination with the catalysts in the engine bay, you'll get really bad vapor lock on the 2000 plus XJs. Now, I know I'm still going to have heat soak, and if you might notice my electric fan is not in here, it's because I broke it when I took it out. Because right before I did the manual swap, I put in a replacement steering gear from Redhead Steering. If you've been keeping up with the channel at all, you'll know that their Redhead steering box kind of died. And so they sent me a warranty replacement, very reluctantly, might I add. And I don't know, man. I'll figure out the steering box system later. But yeah, I broke my electric fan, so I'm going to have to get a new one of those. I've taken that thing in and out so many times, you have no idea. Also, initially, I didn't even think about this, but you know how I said the 242 is going to make that weird clicking noise every time you push in the clutch? I haven't even noticed that, like, at all. It just crossed my mind right now. Like, I was like, wait a minute. I haven't heard this make any weird noises. One thing I have noticed about it, though, is that when you transition from accelerating to engine brake, there is a bit of a, like, backlash there. It's kind of violent. You know, instead of just, like, transitioning to engine brake, instead of like a switch, it's doing one or the other like the MJ does. This one's kind of got like a middle point where there's like a split second where you're just coasting and then the engine brake happens. So, I don't know if that's going to cause any problems, but I've heard of plenty of other people using 242s with manuals. And like I said, I'm gonna look into how the full-time mode works. I don't want to put this in four-wheel drive right now because the front drive shaft isn't in here, because we had a bit of a situation with the front shaft and it's not going to work. So I'm just going to buy a new front drive shaft and forget about the old one at some point in the future. Thing I'm also curious about is reverse lights. Of course, reverse ain't lined up. There we go. Hey, 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 hey. Those look like functioning reverse lights to me. So my reverse circuit worked. It's a very simple thing. I just got, you know, so much extra wire. But yeah, it just goes to the NSS connector and it's as simple as that. And then let's see when I... Okay, they're still on. I thought they turned off for a second there. Take it out of reverse. And they ain't on anymore. Beautiful. So it's kind of hard to shift it smoothly because the clutch is so smooth. It's really hard to tell when exactly it grabs. So I'm gonna have to relearn this entirely almost. I'm seriously like, I'm gonna have to relearn how to drive this thing because the engine behaves differently. The clutch is so smooth. I've never driven anything with a clutch this smooth. So yeah, there's a bit of a learning curve for me here. It's the same car, but it's very different now. And also something else I want to point out was, you know how the factory service manual tells you not to resurface these flywheels? No, that's complete bullshit. This flywheel was resurfaced for 30 bucks and it works fine. It works perfectly fine. I could not tell you the difference between a brand new flywheel and a resurfaced one. There's no reason these flywheels can't be resurfaced. There's absolute bullshit. So if you have a flywheel, go ahead and get it resurfaced because it was only 30 bucks and new ones sell for over $100. So I saved quite a bit of money there. What the hell is this? What the hell is this? What is this? In the first video, I mentioned that the four-wheel drive linkage doesn't exist for an AX15 and an NP242, and so I just kind of assumed that you could use an ASI linkage for that combination. And although it does work, it is a bit weird, so that's what I'm demonstrating here. And for low. See. Now the problem here is this is so perfectly lined up that when you try to push it backwards, it is kind of tricky. It does kind of get binded up on itself. You can go back into neutral now. Look at that. It kind of just bends the whole thing. So unless I help it, yeah, it's kind of a minor problem there, eh? I could do it by myself. You just kind of gotta. It's weird. It's weird. Try just like knocking it forward with like your palm. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, that works. Problem solved. And then that's two-wheel drive. All right. And just to demonstrate that the four-wheel drive does actually work, even though I don't have a front drive shaft. So don't do this if you don't have a front drive shaft unless you are at a complete stop. You do not want to shift on the fly without a front shaft. So we're in two-wheel drive right now. My dashboard indicators do work because they're like the single most imperative function on the entire Jeep. So I made sure that they do work. So we put it in part-time. Pretty simple. Yes, we're in part-time four-wheel drive, high range. Pretty straightforward. I can put it in full-time. The full-time light does come on, which, I mean, That picture right there is a bit of a unique one, full time with a manual. You definitely do not want to drive in full time without a front drive shaft, just throwing that out there. Okay, so let's go into neutral, and the lights shut off, so we are in neutral, and then I can put it in gear and release the clutch, and we're not moving anywhere. Now I'm going to put it in 4 low. Try to. I guess that went in. It didn't really feel like it did, but the part-time light came on, so let's see if we're actually in 4 low. Oh, we're in 4 low. Okay, which is, I'm sure you can kind of hear that. And based on how fast I have to shift. Yeah, we're in 3rd gear at like less than 5 miles an hour, so yeah, that's definitely 4 low. See, the thing is though, to get it out of 4 low is when it gets all binded up like that. It doesn't really work if you just push on it. So you kind of gotta give it an extra, you know what I mean? And now we're in neutral again. Full time, part time, 2-wheel drive. Let's go. So it does work, just not very well. Does extended idle work? Probably about to fry the computer. Okay, it doesn't do anything. Great, now we know though. So something I was not expecting at all, heat soak, is completely gone now, as like it never even was a thing. So this Jeep in particular had really bad heat soak. I've never seen another Jeep that had worse vapor lock than this one. It was so bad that at time, even in the winter, I've had it misfiring on cylinder 1, 2, and 3 simultaneously in the winter. That's how bad this thing had heat soak before I did anything to negate it. So that was before the heat shield, before the electric fan, before all of that whatnots. We vapor locked this thing so hard, and it was really bad misfires on 1, 2, and 3, and we drove it on the highway like that, running on 3 cylinders. That was pretty fun. So then I wrapped the injector rail in heat shielding, and I also have this little extra shield down here to replace the factory one, because it did have the heat shield on the intake manifold, but it did not have the rail or the injectors wrapped. After I wrapped all that in heat shielding, it did certainly help, but it did not make it go away. I never got a misfire on cylinder 1 again after doing that. On really hot days, it would still misfire on 2 and 3, but usually it would just do it on cylinder 3. So the heat shielding does help. It did not fix it in my case though. Then the next thing I did was D&E in the garage. He has a video about wiring the electric fan on a time delay relay, which is what this whole thing back here is. So this is where my relay is, and I just got that wired to a button on the dash. And whenever you press the button, it turns on the electric fan for about 3 to 4 minutes. So every time I shut the Jeep off, I press the button, the fan runs, and it blows onto the fuel rail and the exhaust. And that pretty much cured heat soak, but it would still happen on hot days. Like down in Florida, you know, when it's like 90-something degrees, you could run the fan and it would still get heat soak on cylinder 3. But here in Wisconsin, it pretty much fixed the problem forever. I thought, you know, the fan relay, it was good enough of a fix. I was happy with that. Now, I figured the manual swap might help a little bit more, but so far, I think it's completely cured heat soak, honestly. The check engine light has not even come on. It has not even misfired once, and I have hot started it a couple times now. You know, I would just like go to the store, you know, run in real quick, come back out, you restart the engine. It's hotter than it was when you left to go inside, and it does not heat soak anymore. It did, like, nothing. Like, seriously, unbelievable that the manual swap would help with something like that. I don't even have the electric fan in here, so without even using the electric fan, you can still hot start this thing, and it does not heat soak anymore, which is just, like I said, unexpected benefit. You idiot! You idiot! You stalled it!
I told you, dude.
The first person to stall. It's the first time it's ever been stalled. Think about that.
Successfully.
That's all you get, dumbass. So we noticed a somewhat concerning amount of an unidentifiable fluid in the driveway, and figured we should check that out. So fluid is leaking from the bell housing, and so that could either be engine oil or clutch fluid or transmission fluid, which is what I'm pretty sure it is. So I was trying to get some footage of that. I did not really get any footage of that because it was leaking out like a substantial amount. So yeah, we more than likely got a bad input shaft seal, which I don't feel like replacing, honestly. It's not engine oil. It's definitely not engine oil. It looks fine. There's plenty of it in there. It's not burnt. Focus, come on. Jesus, whatever, you get it. So I don't really know what the plan is right now. This is all subject to change, but what I'm thinking currently is I'm gonna get an NV3550. Now, there's nothing wrong with the AX15. It's good transmission. But this one in particular, yeah, there's a lot wrong with it. It's got 315,000 miles on it, and it does totally still work, but it's kind of hard to get it into second gear sometimes, and you know, it's got a bad input shaft seal. I'm like 99% certain that's the problem. And yeah, sometimes when you put it in reverse, you can feel and hear the gears kind of grind a little bit. I'm pretty sure the reverse gear is missing some teeth. And then there's the whole 242 thing. Now, I don't think it's going to be worth trying to adapt a 242 to a 3550. Now, with the backlash stuff and the full-time four-wheel drive and whatnot, to be fair, I haven't even used the full-time yet, so I don't know if it's any good with a manual. But after doing a little bit of tests, I'm going to make a review video on how it works with an automatic and then with a manual, you know, same video. Full review of the 242, what I think about it. Because right now, as I'm thinking about this, is it really worth having full-time mode, even in Wisconsin? I don't really think so, because honestly, I think part-time works better in the snow, and snow is the only reason you need full-time. So it's really not that big of a benefit to have it. I'm going to make a separate video about this, like I said, but I was kind of naively hoping full-time would behave like a Subaru. Because Subaru all-wheel drive is like really good. It's top-tier all-wheel drive in the Subarus. But it really just behaves like an all-wheel drive Jeep, which is not all that great. Part-time works better in the snow. So I think the 242 isn't really all that worth it after driving through winter with it. You know, I still used part-time. And the 231 is so much lighter as well, and it doesn't have any problems being connected to a manual. So I think in my case, I'm going to switch it back to a 231 and put a 3550 in here. Because I think I prefer the 3550 over the AX15. And I will go into more depth in this in the future, but that's just what I'm thinking right now. And then in order to do that, that is going to be kind of expensive. I might have to sell the MJ. This damn truck. I don't have the time, the motivation, the money, you know. I'm gonna regret it. I already regret it, and I haven't even done anything yet. And the channel, and that's gonna be a hard decision. I got a lot to think about, though. That's just kind of where I'm at right now. So, yeah, I guess we'll see. You know, every time I think about selling this thing, all it takes is one more drive. And I'm like, damn, this is great. I'm thinking about 307s in the XJ now. What are you doing? You know, doorless Comanche's pretty freaking cool. But the manual swap is done. And I don't mean to keep ending these videos where I'm in an existential crisis, but I just got a lot to think about. My entire life has culminated to the manual swap. That's the only reason I've existed for the past 6 months. And, well, now I don't know what to do with myself. So that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, I got a lot of thinking to do. So don't take my sort of passive disappointment as regret. There's just a lot going on right now. So, yeah, finally, the playlist is over. I'm gonna put these doors back on and go have a burger.